On this week's episode of Premier Preps, we take a look around the Sierra Foothill League on both diamonds, Whitney and Granite Bay baseball and Folsom and ROCKLIN softball, a top 5 matchup in boys volleyball, and I'll introduce you to Florin High's Mason McNany, who hasn't let his fight with a rare blood disease keep him off the baseball field. You're watching Premier Preps. Welcome to Premier Preps. I am your host, Nick Pecoraro. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed and followed along on this crazy venture to keep Sacramento sports covered in a way that it deserves. We're going to start this week with some Sierra Foothill League hardball. The Whitney Wildcats came into this week having lost 3 of their last 4, trying to get back on track with a huge series against Granite Bay. The Grizzlies came into this week at the top of the Sac Joaquin section rankings, a big-time SFL series kicking off on Monday. Whitney looking to get back on track with a huge SFL series against Granite Bay. Texas A&M commit Chase Bentley on the bump for Game 1 on Monday. But the Wildcats would come out throwing the first punches. Runners on in the top of the first for Noah Warner, who delivers an RBI knock to left. That scores Trajan Rogowski, 1-0 Cats. But they weren't done in the first. The next batter, Brady Estes, grounds into what looks like an inning-ending double play, but the throw to first gets away and allows an unearned run to score. Luke Euler comes in, and it's 2-0. Whitney still batting. Freshman Bryce Ferris lifts one to right. That one drops in. Estes scores, and Whitney's up 3-0 before their ace, Corden Petty, even comes to the mound. And the Texas commit was masterful on Monday. This is the first of 10 strikeouts for Petty, and the Wildcats go back to work at the plate. Top of the third, Noah Warner already with an RBI single. This time he pokes a leadoff double out to right. And the next batter, Brady Estes, does his job, depositing a single out to left. Warner scores. Whitney's doing the cha-cha because it's 4-0 after 3. The Grizzlies trying to wake up the bats in the bottom of the third. Bases juice, 2 outs for Jace Bystrowski. He muscles one into center. Ben Kriesenbeck and Timmy Reed score, and the Grizzlies are back in this game at 4-2. But Whitney would answer back swiftly. Noah Warner, already 2 for 2, comes through once again with a line drive to right. Trajan Rogowski scores once more. Whitney leads 5-2. Cats with some defense now. Brady Estes runs one down in foul territory to end the 4th. And then Whitney's threatening once again in the 5th, but it's GB with the D this time. Brady Roach snags a liner. I guess if your name is Brady and you play right field, you can play a little defense. Petty still dealing in the 6th. This was the second time this year he's hit double-digit strikeouts. And one last chance for the Grizz. Tying run at the plate, 1 out. Kevin Braun with a line drive, but Jax Jimenez snares it, steps on the bag for the double play to end the game in style. And Whitney takes Game 1 of this critical SFL series.
I mean, we came out fighting. We battled, and just it was an amazing performance by Corden on the mound too, and just great hitting too. We also had a rough series last week against Oak Ridge. Just came out, we had some fire in us and came and battled.
Moving inside to the gym now, where 2 of the top 3 boys volleyball teams in the entire Sac Joaquin section entering this week, Granite Bay and Jesuit, squared off in a non-league tilt. The Grizzlies came into this one having won their last 5 matches, while Jesuit had plans of a Section 3-peat this year. That match going on Monday night. Jesuit, winners of 12 in a row, entering Monday's non-league game with Granite Bay, a matchup of 2 of the top 5 teams in the section. Here we go. First set, Keegan McManus getting things going for Big Red, but GB fires back as Kellen Ashford brought his fastball on Monday. But the Marauders had a well-balanced attack in the first set, including some D at the net, courtesy of Adrian Alvarez, one of 6 blocks on the night for Adrian. And the Marauders are starting to get some separation here as Matthias Mendes puts it straight down. And Jesuit has set point now. Nolan Marks hangs it, and Julian Santiago bangs it. Big Red wins set 1, 25-20. To set 2 we go. Granite Bay off to a much better start. Kellen Ashford breaks the iPad in the back. You will be receiving an invoice in the mail soon, Kellen. Just kidding. Grizzlies still doing work, though. This is the 3rd of 3 straight aces for Brandon No. And GB has an 8-4 lead early in the second, but here come the Marauders. You've heard the Keegan Murray chants at Sacramento Kings games. Keegan McManus gets serenaded the same way after big hits. Jesuit reclaims the lead, but GB is still fighting. Conrad Monson off the feed from Sean Camden, but the Marauders close set 2. Nolan Marks to Jackson Carmichael, and Big Red is just 1 set away. Julian Santiago starts set 3 off with a bang, 3 kills for the sophomore. But Kellen Ashford answers back for the Grizz. He might have the best arms in the business. A solid night for Ashford, but Jesuits looking to put this thing away. Matthias Mendes, not exactly sure how you're supposed to defend that. Marauders with match point now, but GB's Charlie Vaness says not so fast. The denial at the net forces extra points, but Jesuit would close it out as Matthias Mendes has an ace up his sleeve. 7 kills for Mendes and 23 for this man, Keegan McManus.
Even when we were down and we were getting in ourselves, we do that quite a bit, we still managed to pull through against a really good team. I'm just glad that my team did not crumple and that I could help them become the best players that they could be on the court today and win against Granite Bay. Woo!
Well, it's been a while since the Florin High baseball program has tasted league championship success, but this group of Panthers has the team in contention for its first league crown in nearly 3 decades. And right at the heart of it all is senior Mason McNany, who's been limited to mostly non-contact sports throughout his life because of a rare blood disease with which he was diagnosed at birth. But despite all of the risks that come with the game of baseball, you'd be hard-pressed to try and pull Mason from the baseball field. It's been quite the turnaround for the Florin High baseball program over the past couple of seasons. The Panthers erased a 21-year playoff drought just 2 years ago and are in contention for their first league title since 1995. And right at the forefront of this upswing is senior Mason McNany.
First thing I noticed about Mason was he was hustling to practice every single day, running from his car. Never had to ask him twice about anything. Easy to coach, just a really hard-working kid, you know. And first impression was probably the best first impression you get from a student athlete as a coach. He's an RBI machine. He's a bulldog on the bump. He competes. He goes after everyone. He doesn't back down.
I really love how you can like work for something. You know, some other sports it's like, you know, if you're not tall, if you're not this or not athletic, you're not going to be as good. But you know, baseball, like, you know, that those things do help. But like, you know, you could still outwork someone.
But even for a workman-like athlete like Mason, he still has his limitations, mostly stemming from a genetic blood disorder with which he was diagnosed at birth.
I have a family history of hemophilia in my family. I lost an uncle in his mid-40s, and of course I have grandparents and great-grandparents whose life was significantly impacted by hemophilia, mobility issues, and a shortened lifespan.
Basically what it is it's a protein deficiency, or in some cases it's completely missing in the blood, which basically stops your blood from clotting. So that can cause continuous bleeding internally and externally. Even a pulled muscle or something like that, it could start out as a pulled muscle, but you know, just it continues to bleed internally and could get even worse.
We kind of take a little precaution. We know he has to get cleared through a doctor and everything, but how it's affected his play, you can't even tell. Like, he just plays through everything.
Over the years, I've definitely gotten better at recognizing when I'm having a bleed. It feels a lot different than being sore, for sure. It's more of like it's like a sharp pain. Resting it and icing it and things like that just really don't help at all.
Despite all of the very real and dangerous risks of competing as a hemophiliac, you won't find Mason far from the baseball diamond.
Getting hit with the baseball is always a little bit scary for me, a lot of times the bruises can swell up to about like that.
He took a line drive off his neck last year and looked at me and said, "I'm fine." And he walked off the mound and everything. And I'm like, "You got to go."
I had to be rushed to the hospital, so they were really worried about the kind of bleeding in the neck area.
Doctor was saying, "Hey, you need to heal like that. You go out there and play the next game. You could seriously hurt yourself." And he wanted to play the next game because we're playing a league rival. And we're like, "There's no way we're going to let you play the next game." The doctor says, "No, you're not playing at all." And he really wanted to play.
Pretty recently, I found out I had a stress fracture in my back. And that was a couple visits to the hospital. I had to probably stop pitching for, maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Chopping the bit to get out there and do something for us to positive for the team and everything. He's a tough kid. He's tougher than a lot of kids I know.
Mason knows he's fortunate to be covered with good health insurance, so he spends a lot of time advocating for legislature to be passed to help others in his situation who might not be so lucky.
My medicine is very expensive. I moderate, but, so I take it when needed, but some people take this medication every day. So their copays can be, upwards of $5,000 a month.
He currently has wonderful health care and wonderful access to quality medications, and it's been a passion of his to ensure that continues, but also to expand that access to kids who might not, and adults who might not have that same privilege that he has.
Not having access to medication can really hinder people from this. I want everyone to kind of share the same experiences as me. If I wasn't on my mom's health care, I don't know if I'd be able to do this, if the medicine was so hard to get. So I want everyone to kind of experience what I've experienced,
Being limited to mostly non-contact sports, Mason also recognizes how lucky he is to be able to play the game he loves.
I think his life would be substantially different and not for the better if he didn't have baseball.
I think that sports have taught me a lot of life lessons. Probably one of the biggest things is how to deal with pressure and adversity, for sure.
But I think baseball is like his outlet, right? His outlet to go out there and just be a different person, to kind of put that mask on or put that hat on and be that baseball player. Baseball, especially in this program, has helped him, be part of a family.
And while he focuses on his baseball family during his senior year, his teammates and coaches feel fortunate to have him along for the ride as well.
Overall, great person, a great student, and a great hardworking athlete. So, they come, once every 3 or 4 or 5 years if you're lucky. I'm pretty tough, and I don't know if I could do what he does, Imagine what he goes through and everything, and he comes out here and grinds 6 days a week. It's amazing.
As of now, I'd like to continue my baseball career. I definitely think my future would be in medicine. I'd really like to go into medicine. I'm really interested in the field of psychiatry, but I'd also be very interested in the field of hematology. I'm very fortunate, to be in the situation that I'm in, and I know not everyone's going to have the same kind of experience that I have, with so much support that I'm given. I'm really blessed.
From Florin High School in Sacramento, I'm Nick Pecoraro, and this is Premier Preps. Well, a huge thank you goes out to Mason McNany and the rest of the Florin High baseball program. The Panthers, as of Friday, stood right near the top of the Greater Sacramento League standings, with Mason right in the middle of the lineup as one of the key two-way players for that team. Thanks again to Mason for sharing your incredible story with us. Well, we're going to switch over to the softball field now, where ROCKLIN and FOLSOM have had up and down seasons with all the rigors of battling in the Sierra Foothill League, but one win can turn around the rest of a season. Would it be the Thunder or the Bulldogs grabbing that opportunity on Tuesday? Find out right now. FOLSOM looking for a big win to spark the rest of the season. ROCKLIN coming off perhaps its biggest victory of the year, beating Capital Christian on Monday. And the Thunder come out swinging again on Tuesday. 3 of ROCKLIN's top 4 hitters get on with hits in the top of the first. Kat Alston leads off, followed by Oklahoma commit Sydney Barker. And then Marley Hogue's one-out single loads the bases for the Thunder, but Folsom pitcher Reagan Mercado gets out of the jam unscathed. Great work from the sophomore starter. Now, if I've learned anything about covering Rocklin softball, it's that you don't hit it to right field because Lily Treaty resides out there and she will lower your batting average with her glove. A beautiful grab by Treaty, and we're scoreless after 1. But Folsom strikes in the second, runner on for Trinity Odestig. An RBI knock gives Folsom a 1-0 lead. They would walk in a second run, and it's 2-0 Folsom after 2. Top 3, Reagan Mercado throws 3 pitches and gets 3 outs. Nice play right here from her third baseman, Sophie Green, to help her out. Now, I've heard of ducks on the pond, but maybe geese on the pond in this case? Either way, Rocklin has them loaded in the 4th. Cameron Buffington chops one to third. Folsom comes home to get the force, but the ball squirts away, allowing Peyton Pryor to score, and Rocklin gets on the board. Top 5 now, runners on for Savannah Lorenzini, a deep drive to left, but a tremendous leaping grab by McKenna Jenkins, but the run scores on the sac fly, and we're tied at 2. The next batter, Marley Hogue with an RBI ground out to score Sydney Barker. Rocklin leaves the 5th with a 4-2 lead. Bottom 5 now, runners on for Aaliyah Dugars. She shoots one the other way to bring it back to a 1-run game as Green comes home to score. And then Trinity Odestig pops one up, but Rocklin can't come up with the play. A costly mistake brings home the go-ahead run for Folsom. 5-4 Bulldogs after 5. Bottom 6 now, Reagan Mercado trying to help her own cause. She drives one out to center. Another ball in and out of the Thunder's glove. Shea Sakay scores, and then here's the big blow. Devin Huber. It's high. It's deep. It's the freshman's first career varsity home run, and it puts the cherry on top of a huge win for the Bulldogs.
I think our communication was definitely up. Like, this was probably the best game we've had this season. Being more aggressive and being really loud and picking up each other, and I definitely think we succeeded in that.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. We are 7 episodes deep this year with plenty more to come throughout the rest of the school year. Once again, a big shout out goes out to Mason McNany and the rest of the Florin High baseball program. Appreciate you guys joining us on the show this week. Next week, we'll be chatting with Brian McKenzie, the Sacramento Bees All-Metro Coach of the Year from the Natomas Nighthawks basketball team. Make sure you tune into that one next week. Until then, you are watching Premier Preps. I'm Nick Pecoraro. We'll see you then.